But where I think we as South Africans have to take responsibility is, well, particularly the ANC, which has been the most dismal ruling party. I was a member of the ANC in 1994, and I can't believe how poorly they've managed the country. But mostly because they took a racist system and they didn't make any adjustments to it. So today we have the architecture of apartheid. The ecosystem of everything that we do is based on apartheid colonialism. And the ANC could have made changes, but what did they do? They just kept that system intact. They just allowed the black man and the black woman to be accommodated in the system, to have a small place at the table. And it's quite interesting just to look at this in an international context, where we see the people of Palestine in the same situation, that we have apartheid Israel wanting more and more land. So both struggles, in a way, are colonial struggles. And what we see in South Africa and in Israel, because there's also settlers in that area, which doesn't belong to them, we see the presence, the omnipresence, in fact, of the colonizer in society. So the DA is a colonial party. It subscribes to white supremacy. But sadly, it also represents the mindset of most white South Africans who don't think differently.
Do you think the DA is helping in ending racism? I mean, there are many incidents of racism where the DA is not issuing a statement or taking an action. Now in Limpopo, in Groblersdal, if you have seen that, there was a white farmer, white man, Boers, who were flying the Boer Republic flag after they were appearing in court. What needs to happen to sort of nip these anomalies in the bud?
That's a really good question, and I think the answer is quite complex. So we see racism every single day. I mean, it's a serial thing. That just happens to be a grotesque example of racism. But racism is the water we drink. It's everywhere. It's in the air that we breathe. Perhaps not in this beautiful building named after one of our greatest struggle heroes, Winnie Mandela. But outside of possibly the EFF and some other progressive organizations, racism is everywhere. And we can't expect the DA to end it or issue statements about that, because it fuels their growth. They can't survive without the ember of racism. But where I think we as South Africans have to take responsibility is, well, particularly the ANC, which has been the most dismal ruling party. I was a member of the ANC in 1994, and I can't believe how poorly they've managed the country. But mostly because they took a racist system and they didn't make any adjustments to it. So today we have the architecture of apartheid. The ecosystem of everything that we do is based on apartheid colonialism. And the ANC could have made changes, but what did they do? They just kept that system intact. They just allowed the black man and the black woman to be accommodated in the system, to have a small place at the table. And so today we have crumbs for the black person, where the large share of the pie still is with the white colonial settler, like myself. So racism is in the system itself. And so I'm less concerned about the on the daily racism. I mean, that obviously I'm not, it's a dreadful thing. But until we tackle this systemically and eradicate racist structures of the economy, of cultural expression, of the narrative itself that we speak every day, nothing's going to change. So, I mean, where I see a lot of racism that worries me is in the schools, for instance.
Like Brackenfell.
Yeah, but even more so than that, I think it's what children are taught. And I had the great pleasure many years ago, I was working at the Sowetan, and I worked with Don Matero, who was one of the greatest poets in this country. And his work is beautiful. To me, he is a true Black consciousness leader.
Yeah.
And when his work was suggested for grade 1 learners, the Department of Education said, no, we can't feature his work because it could upset white children. So these are real issues that we are accommodating the former settler and making him feel so comfortable that by doing so, the Black South African, the African, is absolutely put on the peripheries of an economy, of a cultural landscape that is his and hers, but which is completely contaminated by whiteness. So that, that to me is a real expression of racism, that in the schools, Black thought, Black expression cannot be fully articulated. I think that's really painful.
Do you believe there are schools that preserve the legacy of apartheid in the form of racism?
I think that what happened was that, yes, but the schools are part of a larger system. So I think there is a problem. I mean, even in a lot of the modern Model C type schools, we see African languages still pushed to the side as an option. And that's a real problem. I did a seminar at one of the universities a few years ago, and I said the two things that I think a Black government should do would be to, first of all, take land from white people because it was stolen and white people are not the rightful owners. And the second thing I would do is to stop speaking the language of the settler, English and Afrikaans, and put at the center African languages. Because imagine if we're having this conversation not in English. Imagine if we were having critical discussions in our country and our president spoke in an African language. White people would immediately lose power. At the same time, they would be an expression of being African. So, I mean, our society is very damaged. The Rainbow Nation has just caused more discomfort, not less discomfort. And I always think, like, I get so shocked when I see people singing destem. I mean, Black professors standing up and saying, singing this apartheid melody. I mean, that's so painful that we're having that. I wonder what young people think. So it's more than just even a structural recalibration of society. It's a cultural recalibration. It's to say this is our voice. The white voice must be shut down or quietened. What are the values of an indigenous Black society? And let's get back to that. That's what will end racism.
Guys, our African leaders try to do their best, in their speeches and try to make speeches that actually to show, their efforts in trying to help manage the challenges which Africa is actually facing through and has been facing through since the colonial times. And so we here to really listen to these speeches and to share our thoughts in the comments. And so whatever it is you guys think about these speeches, please do share your thoughts in the comments.
Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe, because that's the way you support Kwazemi as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.